That's all vibing away.
So we get vibing sometimes and good stuff comes up. So next week I'm driving down to the Escape event, stopping in Georgia, picking up John, and we're gonna spend like 7 or 8 hours in the car together, vibing.
Vibing, yes. Kind of like, going back and forth, talking about our presentations and how kind of the two of us always seem to link.
Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of linking,
Yep.
um, I did volunteer your services without telling you.
Oh, but geez. Okay, what am I doing now?
So we have a coaching call with one of my clients who's been making some really good progress, and I didn't want to go the extra week without the input. So while we're driving, whichever one of us is not driving is going to hold the phone, and we're going to do a joint coaching call.
Let me guess. Is it Alan or is it Dan Hart?
Neither.
Wait. It's Tuesday, right? Tim.
Yeah, we're going to be working
Yes.
with Tim. So Tim lucks out that neither one of us wants to spend the money on a plane ticket. So yeah, so we'll do that Tuesday. But now that that was a little stall time. We noticed that sometimes we stream now both on YouTube and Facebook, and sometimes the YouTube stream I notice is cutting off the very beginning of our show, so you got to listen to us BS for just a little bit. So today, we're going to be talking a little bit about our current experience in life, but also where it's leading us or what it's done for us. We're undergoing mindset growth and change all the time, just like you guys are. So we wanted to share a little bit about that as we shamelessly plug a few things that Skillz has going on. So for those of you that are working on your marketing efforts, one thing, and I always say it that I stalk all of you guys, one thing that very often you guys forget to do is actually ask for sales every now and then, or talk about your actual opportunities for people to enroll. So we're going to throw a little bit of that in today. Be sure to copy us. So first of all, we have the Escape event coming up, which I'm super excited about. And I was actually just chatting with Dwayne Spires over in another mutual group that we belong to, that's run actually by a Skillz member, Kevin Bergquist. That we're just excited to be sharing the stage and to have this event coming up. So, John, what are you most excited about for the Escape event?
Networking is a big key in our industry, and I feel like a lot of times, we talk to each other right through Facebook. Maybe we'll talk to each other once or twice on the phone, but there is something about going together in midst of a group of people that meet your culture, meet your tribe, and you're just brainstorming the different ways that we can all become. Um, just the best version of ourselves. And I know some of the people who are coming to the Scapes, they're not necessarily Skillz members, but they still have the same um, feel or the same ways of teaching, you know, and their biggest focus is kids and the child psychology behind what we do and all that great stuff. I haven't missed a MegaCon yet. From day one, it was created back in 2016. Every single time I went, we come back and we're just super stoked. Okay. And we don't have to worry about like taking a lot of notes. We don't have to worry about doing a whole lot of work except just sit there, listen, and become one with the speaker, understand what the pain point of what each speaker is going to talk about. So for me, it's just networking, getting to see all of you guys, getting to talk to all of you guys afterwards, but network with those gurus out there who's going to be speaking to us, letting us know, what's some of the best approaches that's happening right now.
Yeah, I love the networking. I get so much out of that. And, piggybacking on that, I think the thing I'm most excited about, and I guess fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you registered, is actually the way that we structured VIP Day. So VIP Day is for those higher level owners that wanted to actually dig in and get to work while they're still there. So we have speakers set up. And what we're going to be doing is we'll be making, instead of just getting up and making a presentation or a keynote, we're actually going to instruct on our topics, and then we have time built in to dive right in and actually put this stuff to immediate action with everybody that's in attendance. So, we did this at Stephen's Market Muscles conference last year, which seems like 10 years ago now after the whole coronavirus thing, but it was just early last year. And we did the breakout sessions where he had a couple speakers come out, and then for the meals, we would go into the other room and we would just rotate through all the different speakers, and being able to say, hey, I had a question about this, or I like this idea, but how do I apply it to my specific, because very often we go to these conferences and you get your minds blown, and then you get home and you're like, I love it.
How do I
don't know how to apply it.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to be able to spend the time, and I'm doing like a content marketing workshop where we're going to learn all about some different ideas in content marketing and how I do it, because that's, aside from the ads that I have Chris Rodriguez running for me, who by the way will also be speaking at the event, my only real marketing efforts are content marketing, and it works really well for me. So we're going to know how to do that. And you guys are actually going to do it before we walk out of the room.
And one of the things that, if you kind of look around and you search and, align yourself with the other people in the industry of the same mind-like concept, being a child development center, you don't see a whole lot of therapists or a whole lot of child development offices, advertising, we're going to fix your child. You know what I mean? You don't see that. For $29.99, we will do this for you. No, everything
free.
Yeah, everything out there is content-based material. Are you having a hard time with your child not sleeping at night? Do you realize that you're yelling at your kids a whole lot? Are you trying to get your child in a more calm environment in order for them to accomplish this? So it's always, are you, right? It starts with the you, and it starts with a pain point. It doesn't always start with, for $29.99, we will, you know what I mean? So this is going to be like big, and instead of advertising, regular advertising, you can do content advertising.
So there's nothing wrong with advertising, guys. I mean, you need it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I think when people think marketing, they think about, well, what ads should I be running?
Yep.
Advertising is just one piece. It's just one piece. Like if I said, hey, you guys should all go to the Skillz website, and for $3.99 a month, you could sign up for a comprehensive program that will run everything in your school from the ages of 18 months to adult. And you'll be able to have all this content, and you go to www.skillzconnect.com and just click on the link to sign up. That's an ad. How often do John and I do that? Once in a while, for sure. And you'll see sales come through every now and then, but you'll also see that we put out a lot of things and this show is just one piece of many that we do. So it's a more comprehensive, approach to getting the right people in your school. So looking beyond Escape, because I know we've spoken about it and everything, and I know at this point it is sold out. So we're not trying to sell you on it. Just we're talking a little bit about it for those that are coming.
We do have the live stream.
Oh yeah, we do have the live stream. So I've been to all the MegaCons except one, and the first one I did just the live stream, and it was very valuable. So there is a ton of value to being in the room and surrounded, but information is information, and you're still going to be able to get that information and put it to work. And for those of you that have gotten the live stream for VIP Day, we'll still have it set up so that you can interact and ask those questions and everything. So looking beyond that, the event ends on Saturday, and then we'll have the balance of Saturday to network,
Yep.
network. Sunday, we start our travels home and our journey into the next steps. So beyond MegaCon, something really amazing is starting, and it's something that we as a team at Skillz have been talking about for 2 years, 3 years now, and it was just never the right time or the right team, or we just weren't in the right mindset. So one of the things that we've always said is Skillz puts out an amazing product line with child development products, kids martial arts, curriculum. And one of the challenges has always been that people join and it's almost overwhelming because we're not just saying, here, teach this. We're trying to get you to become experts in child development. And for those that have been with the Skillz family for a while, it was easy because you just came up with us, right?
Yep.
But for those joining over the past year or so, you missed out on that initial 5 years of us putting out all that baseline content. So one of the things we wanted to do was to go beyond just curriculum provision, which is good, but to really help people become experts in child development, in educational practices, in the science and psychology of not only kids, but of teaching. So we have our first huge venture, and guys, this is all going someplace, right? We have our first huge venture coming out starting October 5th, which is the first level of the Certified Pediatric Ninja Specialist. Now, this is also almost sold out. I think is there like 2 spots left?
2 spots left.
2 spots left.
Not 2 schools.
2 spots.
2 spots. Now that can be 2 schools, 1 member each, or that could be 1 school with 2 members. It's just 2 spots.
2 spots. So I know we've already spoken about this in depth, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it is something huge. This is a year-long program where the 5 of us are sharing time, putting all of these classes together, and we're doing a lot of learning as well. I know, I get to go first, trial by fire. So, it's a little bit of crunch time. John has like another year and a half before he has to go.
Right. Right.
So let's talk about the same thing. John, what are you most excited about with the PNS course?
Leveling up our game is always like with Skillz. Like from day one, we've all joined Skillz. We've realized that Melody's always leveled up. Melody is always always presented something newer, right? Whether it's a new program or a new concept or something newer within the Skillz world to help children become a better version of themselves. I think we get stuck so much in our head in terms of the way we learn things that we can't broaden it to become better at it. So this is the way it is. This is what the book said. This is what I'm going to do. When just like, buying a new phone or a new car, things get better and better every year. There is more studies and more research, right? So the fact that we're able to help the other schools out there really, truly understand the different stages of development, right? The difference in disorders, the difference in the way we teach and how we've gotten better. And we've realized just through our teaching process, using the Skillz curriculum, we've realized, wait a minute. Oh, by the way, if we do it this way, the kids even love it more, right? And it's just all based on science, psychology, and research. So, I mean, we get to dig more deep into all the stages that's already out there.
Yeah, to me, it's like you guys already created the workspace. You've built your schools. You've done the work to create, a successful business environment, to create a suitable educational environment. And then especially those of you that are Skillz members, now you have within your workplace the tools to be able to positively impact children in a way that they best learn. And now this is, the final step, which is elevating the craftsman. So it's almost like we went about it backwards. We're elevating the craftsman so that the craftsman is now better able to use the tools in the suitable environment in a way that's going to elevate it from just, hey, I build wooden boxes to I'm a cabinet maker or an artisan, right?
Yep.
We want to elevate you to that level of expertise. And here's where we're going with this. So coronavirus threw everybody for a loop, right? COVID shut down the world. It put a lot of things into chaos, our schools, our businesses. And I think Skillz did a really good job of helping people through that. Unfortunately, we can't help everybody with everything, but I think Melody and the team put out a really great set of products for free to the industry to really help people get through. Behind the scenes, though, there was certainly some turmoil. Mm-hmm. So we were prepared for MegaCon back in May. And then in March, when the world shut down and MegaCon with it, things just kind of got shelved. And then there was uncertainty. Things opened, things closed, things opened again, things reclosed. The event was on, the event was off, until finally we just said, look, no matter what it's going to be, the event is on. We weren't sure what form it would take at the time that we made the decision, but we knew MegaCon had to happen, which is a really positive thing because I think it gave a sense of concreteness in the whirlwind of everything that was going on, to have at least one thing, at least in my life, that it was like, all right, I know this one thing is happening and I'm going to prepare for it.
Yep.
The downside was when the decision was made, it was about 2 months out. And now everything that had been thought about for the original MegaCon either no longer applied because the business environment had changed so drastically, or had just kind of fluttered away because we weren't actively preparing for it. So within 2 months, John and I, and I'm sure the rest of the team, I can only speak for John and I here, it was all of a sudden like, all right, it's on. Oh, wait, it's on. So, there were presentations to put together. There were procedures and event things to think about. Thing even as small as like, oh man, we have to get microphones and cameras and battery packs and the stupid stuff, all the way to, hey, I have to totally rework a presentation because that world doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
In the midst of this, within 4 weeks, we went from concept to implementation to sold out on this major pediatric ninja specialist certification course. Major. So in the course of 6 to 8 weeks, 2 huge projects will have been thought about, created, implemented. Of course, the PNS goes for another year, so we'll be on the hook for that. And in the midst of all of that, we already have the next series of things that we're working on beyond Escape. So, for example, we have in our own businesses, John and I are really working hard to become the foremost child development centers in our area, aside from anything we do with martial arts. We are working on content creation and branding to support that. For Skillz, we already have another program that we're bringing out. So in addition to 2 more levels of pediatric ninja certification, we also have our ambassador to expert to executive course that we are putting together. And beyond that, there's also, hey, we're all reopened, but we're not out of the woods. Being able to reopen was like they took the blindfold off when you're naked and afraid on the desert island. Then you figure out where you are so you can make your way out of the woods. So all of this, and in the midst of this, recognizing that this puts John and I center stage in a very real way. So, we've been running a lot of the things for the business, for Skillz, for the past, year and a half or so?
Year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, almost. Give or take. But now it's, you're also the face and the voice of Skillz. And Melody will be there, of course. But, now she gave us a lot of trust, where it was in the past, hey, Melody, this is what I'd like to do. And she'd say, okay. that's good, but let's tweak this and let's tweak that. And then it
True.
would come out as something totally different. And for these past two, for Escape and for the Pediatric Ninja Specialist course, it was, hey, Melody, this is what we like. I trust you.
Yeah.
Now, tell me that didn't feel good, but at the same time,
It's like, oh.
better not screw this up, right?
True.
So
True.
how do we balance all this? And here's my question to you, John, because I know John and I go through a lot of the same stuff at the same time, either by design or by coincidence. You guys that have been following us know that somehow our lives always end up on par.
Mm-hmm.
So what does this introduce to your mindset, your ability to plan for your own future as you look at all of the things, the stresses, the successes, everything that's happened over the past 6 weeks, and knowing that you've now been elevated to a certain point? I know you don't want to backslide from that point. You're the type of guy that when you hit a goal, you look for the next goal. So how has this changed your internal dialogue with yourself about who you are and what you can achieve?
Well, I mean, listen, with every opportunity comes that fear factor, right? That lack of like, wait, can I do it? I mean, am I the right person for it? All these self-doubting, whatever that goes on in your head that sets you back, whatever the case is. It's one of those situations where, we tell everybody when an opportunity comes to you, you don't say no. Okay, you just don't say no. It's an opportunity, right? And we all know that when one door closes, 50 others open. Okay, but they only open when you see them opening. They don't open on their own. They only open when you try to set your mind in a way that's okay. Here's an opportunity, right? If I say no to it, then what is that going to say about me? Let me take it, go out, research it, work on it, develop myself in it to make sure that I am an expert in that area, to make sure that I do qualify for that position. Just like any new job we both get. We both have the engineering background, right? We both know that engineering is just a term. You know what I mean? I don't think any of us went to engineering school and actually graduated and worked in the engineering curriculum that we learned in school.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rare, right? That's really rare. So for me, I like to, yes, there was that sense of fear. Don't get me wrong, but it was like you'll sit on it for a day and then just think about it, dissect it, break it down into little pieces, break it down into little projects to make that big project worthwhile for everybody. So, you know, I like the challenge. I like the challenge. I like the fact that I can go out there and better myself. And listen, with a lot of this stuff, I mean, guys, we're school owners just like you guys are. We have to drive and we have to make sure that our schools are as successful as your schools are, at least as successful as your schools are, right? And there's so many obstacles that we go through just like you guys do. I mean, the thing is, now I've realized that I just need to divide my time properly to make sure that I can get all my stuff done in the right format and make sure that we meet everybody's expectations.
It's a really good point you made there. So one of the first things we had to do is make sure we were experts, right? For a lot of people, this becomes almost like a tagline, a marketing gimmick. Like, oh, we're child development experts, or we're martial arts experts, or the expert word used to have a very specific meaning, just like the term professional used to have a very specific meaning. Nowadays, it just means you know more than somebody else, or professional just means you get paid to do what it is. But it used to have very specific meaning. So, one of the things for my adult students that I tell them is, like, you can be a really good martial artist, but the thing that changed me the most, and that will change, and this may pertain just to my style for what we do, that changes you the most as a student is stepping into the full contact ring. Now, I never went pro. I was not that good. But I did spend my fair share of time getting my brains beat in and doing my best to give it back. And it changes you in a very real way. Win or lose, I tell my students, step into the ring once and you will be more of an expert than most of the people that have martial arts schools. I don't care about your rank. I don't care about your style, your experience. You get to say you've been in the ring full contact. Now, that applies to us, and it may be different for different aspects of martial arts. So don't send me the hate mail about, yeah, but can you do forms and whatever. I get it. This is no different. This is not just us being in our, the dojo tournament where it's my class versus the Wednesday night class, where this show is, me and John against me and John. Or when we talk about in the Skillz group, it's us against all the other skills, and I use the term against very loosely. This is us going up on a big stage and having to put up or shut up in a venue where not everybody has bought into our Kool-Aid.
Yep.
There are people taking this course who are not Skillz members. There are people who are going to be taking this course who are not even martial artists, who are degreed licensed professional teachers. Tell me that's not a little, put up or shut up right there. So it almost forced us to elevate.
Yes.
And that's what I'm really enjoying about this process, and what I would encourage others to do. In your own schools, when you join Skillz, yeah, you get to say you're child development expert because you're bringing in the best. And I'll say that without even putting a disclaimer on it. It is the best children's martial arts curriculum out there. But are you the expert, or are you selling our expertise?
That's true.
And there are different levels of expertise too. Like, I know there's a lot of people in the Skillz world who are maybe not experts yet, but they're doing the work. And I think that's the important part, that you're doing the work.
I mean, don't say that you're a pediatric ninja specialist, right? If you put yourself in a situation that you get asked a question about, being a child expert, and then you go, oh, I don't know how to answer that one, right? And don't get me wrong, you that does come, okay, and there is ways to answer that moment. But I've dealt with this with some of my coaching clients, and I've talked to a lot of them about it, in the sense of, don't go out there and say, A, B, C, D, and claim yourself to be the expert, with not giving the recognition to maybe some of the team members who've helped you be in that position, that you're backed up, by somebody that can help you in that position. Kind of like when we were doing the call last week, and you said, one of the coolest things that we have right now is the fact that, we do have a therapist on board that helps us with our ideas, that helps us with the blogs, that takes us to that next level. Oh, you know what, Michael, I'm glad you asked me that question. Let me get in contact with Jennifer, because she is our therapist on board with the organization, because she's the one who's going to help us answer that question for you, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you.
We talk in the martial arts a lot about set ego aside. It has no place in training. Yet think of all the martial artists and how they're ego, and I'm just as guilty. You can't get to a certain level of competition or a certain level of instruction or school ownership without having a certain level of ego. You can't. But this is one of those times where we do have to set the ego aside. I don't know everything, and in fact, there are some areas where I downright struggle. I don't always show it all the time, but this is where you set ego aside and you say, I don't have to have all the answers as the expert. Mm-hmm. And in fact, if you look at most experts, they have very narrow expertise. They're no longer generalists, they are specialists. And they then often work in teams. So if you go to a sports medicine physician and then you say, oh, my colon is acting up, that's not sports medicine. Or putting the tape in
That's
the wrong spot. You know, they're going to send you to a different specialist,
yeah,
that deals with that. And they're going to work as a team. So John has different strengths than I do. Jennifer has different strengths than I do. Melody has different strengths than we do. And we all have our weaknesses. I'm not afraid to say, hey, let me check with Melody. Let me check with John. Let me check with
yeah,
Jennifer, or Kelly, now that she's on the team, is a great resource. So you guys should also feel comfortable and, in fact, eager to leverage us, especially if you're Skillz members. You know,
absolutely. And
I've
it
actually had
also,
Melody on my list of professional references before I was even a Skillz member. I went for a business loan one time, and they're like, "Oh, who are your professional consultants that are guaranteeing you're the right thing?" Melody Schumann back then. Good thing they never called her.
yeah, it also puts us in a position, letting the parents know and letting the people know that um, it's okay to not know it all. You know what I mean? We're humans, and we do have the opportunity to learn. So I thank you so much for asking me this question, because it's going to give me the opportunity to actually check with the right person to come back with the proper answer for you and make sure that you guys are served properly. That is really going to take your business to that next level. Versus, I can't believe this dad questioned my ability to do this and that. I'm like, like, it's just, there is,
I still
we
have
don't, there is no room for that.
response to that every now and then.
I mean,
You know, get out.
yes.
No.
If it was like a legit question, and like not a legit question. What I'm trying to say here is if it wasn't a legit situation, then I get it, right?
Yeah.
But if you truly didn't know how to answer it or how to deal with it, then connect with the right people.
So look at it this way. And I try to always relate this back to the things that people know. If another martial arts school opened right next door to you, right? And aside from the whole traditional, you don't do that, whatever, look, just hypothetically, it opened next door to you. And the guy says that he is the best martial artist in the world. And you walk in there, I'm sure one of your tactful questions will be, well, what qualifies you as the best martial artist in the world? And he will then have his explanation and reasons, whatever they are. Very often we ask people, well, what qualifies you as a teacher of your martial art? And a lot of times what comes out of their mouths is, well, I have an X degree black belt, or I've been training for a long time, or, I'm world champion, whatever. You'd kind of shoot that down really quickly if it was talking about what makes them the best martial artist in the world. Yet very often when we look at it as what makes them an expert at teaching, we go, oh yes, because that supports that I also have a 6th degree black belt, so I must also be a good teacher. Those two things have nothing to do with one another. And we recognize this in our industry nowadays. The point being, if the guy comes in saying best martial artist in the world, he'll have ways to back that up, whether they're legitimate or not. That's beyond this discussion. He'll be able to say, well, I fought such and such. I trained under such and such. I spent 12 years on a mountaintop meditating, whatever it is. We don't have those answers if you haven't done the work as an instructor.
Yep.
And this is not for you guys. This is also for us. So what qualifies John and I to now teach experts? You have to have an even higher level of expertise to teach future experts. And it's been a really good journey for me anyway. I've learned a lot.
A whole ton a lot.
A whole ton a lot. That
A
is
whole ton a lot.
measurement. So next question. So we've both gone through this crunch time. I guess this was our caterpillar transformation, right?
Yes.
The crunch time liquefied us down. And I'll tell you what, I know John, he's probably been liquefied in a corner going, oh, the presentation, because I've been doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
So as we spread our wings a little bit, what do you see as your next goal? Understanding that, we're not even done with this one yet, but, just pipe dreaming, what is your next huge goal beyond this level of expertise that we've attained, or this stage presence?
Well, that's a hefty question. And that's a so the next goal, and that has to happen before our actual goal really happens, right? Is to be 100% away from the studio. Not that we're not 100% from the studio. Like our team can cover the studio on their own. Don't get me wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to be like the face of the studio anymore. We want the studio Atlanta Skillz, certified pediatric ninja specialist, child development center to be known as it is, not necessarily because of John and Jennifer Salama.
So
Right?
that's an interesting distinction. And, I think now that I think about it, we're probably at a similar thing here where we're not, I mean, I'm physically in the school because it's also
Yes.
my office.
Yep.
But I'm not like out on the training floor. I have my office where I do my work because I have good Wi-Fi and power and a nice view and coffee across the street, whatever. But I'm not physically working in the business.
Yep.
I'm working on the business. But, now that you mention it, I think I am still the face of the business.
Exactly. And we are. Like, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but we are. And like, think about it. When we first joined Skillz, Melody was the face of Skillz. Melody did everything. Melody was the one who's doing the live shows and the streaming and all that stuff, right? Where when you really think about it, for the last 2 years, Melody went to do her own research, her own things to grow the business, right? She's working on the business, not in the business anymore, right? Our studios right now, we're at a point where we're working mainly, probably 90% on the business and maybe 10% in the business, right?
So
We want
10% by choice?
by choice.
Yeah, me
By
too.
choice.
I mean, there's a certain amount. I still teach about 4 classes, not even 3 classes a week.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
It's what I always wanted to do since I was a kid.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we want it to come to a point where your team is teaching, and you come in as the guest instructor or the guest speaker, or the doing it because you want to, right? And right now, I do those classes because I enjoy it, right? But I still have the freedom to come and go whenever I want to, right? So that would be like the next goal. And technically, that next goal was supposed to happen this year. Okay,
This year gets a pass on a lot of things.
Yeah, this year is totally what the 2020. So
yeah.
um,
So let me ask you this follow-up question.
Yep.
What will accomplishing that goal allow you to achieve?
To be 100% as one of the Skillz board members, or one of the like 100% Skillz executive working for the Skillz organization.
So this is where, and you see how, this is like a basic life coaching question for you guys watching. When somebody talks about their goal, ask them, even your students, ask them what accomplishing that goal will allow them to achieve. So John just went from, I got to get myself the rest of the 10% out of that business, to I want to step up and become legit leadership for Skillz. One is nice. The other one's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And
I mean, but if you don't set that big, hairy, audacious goal, then what do you have to look towards? Because getting out of the business, I mean, honestly, let's talk about it with all honestly. How many people shut their doors during this whole quarantine? Not just because they had to, but they were so tired of the business, so
You're
tired of
weary.
doing it. Yeah, their passion became a job. The job became a headache. That headache became sleepless nights, and now they're in such a poor health.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the opportunity, right? Where for some of us, we're like, no, no, this legacy has been around for such a long time. I'm not going to let this legacy just drop. So,
Yeah, and now like having this experience of this past 6 weeks of crunch time and what we can really accomplish with focused effort and attention, you know, I foresee that. Let's see, this is what going into October, so I foresee within a little while, us being able to do that. We're just getting back to the point where I'm getting ready to hire that next person, which will be that key thing that lets us step out. And I have similar goals for us to be able to take this company to the next level because there's so much more potential for Skillz.
oh,
Uh, you know,
I don't think we've dug deep enough into what Skillz can do.
no. And so, just as an example, and these stats may be different in other countries, but in the United States, about 2% of the population is involved in or interested in martial arts. 2%, which is a significant number, and it's
Mm-hmm.
enough for us to all thrive. But 2% is far smaller than I did the math the other day. It's something like 48% of the population is younger than age 18. So that means, between I did it from toddler through 17 years old. It's something like 48% of the U.S. population.
Yep.
So Skillz, as it expands from Skillz Dynamic Martial Arts Training to Skillz Child Development Center, now multiplied 24 times. That's 2,400% market share that we have the opportunity to dive into by going from, hey, we teach martial arts to, hey, we work with kids.
Yep.
And that's just Skillz as a company working with other companies that actually do the work. That's
Yep.
not even with us doing any of the actual work yet. So big, hairy, audacious goals. John and I have the potential with the rest of the team, of course. Please, the rest of the team, we're not excluding you. You're just not on the show.
Hey, get on the show.
Get on the show. No. We have this opportunity to do something huge and accomplishing our next goals. So for me, it's hiring a top level, certified teacher to come in at like the $45,000-$50,000 a year price point to start and be an educational specialist. John just has to remove his persona as the face of the school. Not saying we won't still be in our schools or whatever, but having the freedom
Yep.
will allow us to tackle these big, hairy, audacious goals, not just as, well, we could foresee this happening, but to put ourselves in the same mindset that we have right now in crunch time, getting ready for these big projects. Imagine if the two of us, plus Kelly, plus Jennifer, with direction from Melody, and maybe even with this next generation of Skillz ambassadors and experts and executives, what could we accomplish if we had that focused intention all the time?
Mm-hmm. I
Plus,
mean,
travel a little more and come see you guys when it gets cold here.
for those people who are watching and they're new to Skillz or they're haven't kept up, with us, we've actually been. I don't want to say working because when people hear working means that we were getting paid, right? We started out as Skillz expert in 2016, and it was just like well, not experts, well, more like ambassadors, right? There was regions, and each region had an ambassador, right? And if anybody in that region wanted to ask questions about Skillz, you know, there was a person to go to. That way, Melody wasn't getting bombarded, right? And depending on, I guess, life and how we progressed up into the company, we're here today because of that. A lot of people feel that, getting to becoming a Skillz expert or a Skillz executive is going to be like that, just because they saw us get to that level in the last 2 years, right? There is a lot more legwork in between that we need to make sure that you guys are up to speed on it and you're ready to go on it. I'm not saying that you're not good at it,
No,
right?
no.
But we want to give you the experience from the little humps and obstacles that we went through, so you guys don't have to go through that.
But, it's like an artist who, you just look at the museum piece and you see the statue of David and you say, oh, that sculptor was so talented that look what he was able to create.
Mhm.
But you don't see all the piles of rubble and the castaways and the little things that were supposed to be David, but they looked more like frogs. And,
Yeah,
I took up carving and wood turning over coronavirus.
I was
And
about to mention
people
that.
say, like, wow, these things that you're turning out are so amazing, which they're not really. They're beginner stuff at best. But they don't see that my fire pit that's running once or twice a week is
It's got a
fueled
lot of wood.
by castaway projects, not even by firewood. It's fueled by bowls and spoons.
Yeah.
you know, it's the same process. You only see the outside. You don't see the times when, you call up Melody, and John, I don't know if this happens to you too, but you call up Melody and you're like, Melody, I got this amazing idea. And she goes, tell me. And you say, we're going to do this and this and this. And she goes, wrong
No.
mindset. Start over.
No.
Not even like, oh, hey, it's a good idea. Just
No.
no.
Nope.
Oh, man. And it crushes you. But then you do the internal work and you come back and say, okay, here's the seed of this idea, but here's the outcome I really wanted from it. Here's a better process. And then she says, okay, I see where you're going. I'd like to see X, Y, and Z. And
Yep.
she actually gives you some feedback and lets you work on it. And what you don't see is that whole process that sometimes takes a year, like this whole certified pediatric ninja specialist. We talked about this like 2 years ago, and it just never really hit.
Yep.
Until it was right. We have
in a
other ideas,
matter.
like the diamond level certification for schools. We've gone through several different versions of it and actually almost released it once.
Yep.
And then it was, nope. So you guys get to see the finished product. Don't forget, there's a lot that goes into that stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes, when you're seeing the outside picture and a product is being delivered, it may seem like, oh, it's a new product, right? Question is, how much time was put into it to put the new product out, and how many different revisions have we gone through it? Like you're saying, the Diamond Skillz. I think we've gone through 4 or 5 revisions of Diamond Skillz, and chances are Diamond Skillz will come out. Okay,
when it's right.
When that revision, the final revision is in place and everything makes sense, and not because Melody said no, it doesn't mean like it's a hard no.
Nope.
Sometimes that no only means
not yet.
Yeah, it's not yet, not ready for it yet. And I learned that from Jennifer. Like, gosh, it took me almost 10 years or 15 years to realize her no doesn't mean a no. Her no means it's not right now, can't talk about it. There's much more things that's more important for us to do. And then maybe 2-3 weeks later, she'll come back and she'll say, oh, by the way, do you remember that conversation we were having? I said no about, how about this, and that? It's not like we're not listening. It's like we want to give people the opportunity, or they want to give us the chance to go back, revisit that thought process, revisit the implementation behind it, revisit how the final product is gonna look. And this is, I think, one of the things as engineers, or the engineering mindset. We work the problem backwards, right? We know what we know what we want the end result to be, and now we have to design it backwards. Okay, it's not designed from A to Z. It's actually designed from Z to A. Okay, and sometimes the engineering mind has to just kind of like sit and settle it, and break it down carefully. And every now and then we'll miss a step.
And putting myself in a boss's position, I'm not at Melody's level, but I certainly do have employees and team and everything. I actually enjoy, let me put this carefully. I enjoy the opportunity to say no. And I don't mean that in the sense of, oh, I can't wait for them to come to me so I can say no. I mean, I enjoy the opportunity to say no because it means that the team is continually bringing me things. I brought Melody an idea about a month ago, and before I even had finished typing out my idea, she said, not right now. If you need other things to do, I've got stuff for you to do. But it wasn't a no on the project. It was just, all right, there's priorities.
Yes.
So from a team perspective, if you're watching this and you have a boss or a lead instructor and they do tell you no, understand that, it's a benefit to you to continue bringing these ideas forward. Not every idea is going to be a good one. Not every idea will be ready for implementation, but every now and then you're going to come across with something and you may think it's a silly idea, but you're going to come out and say, hey boss, I had this idea about this, and they're going to go, that's brilliant.
Yep.
The other lesson that we find out is that when you go to a good boss and you say, boss, I have this idea, and they go, that's brilliant, the next thing out of their mouth is usually run with it, which means now it's your project.
Yeah, and not because the no is a no, it doesn't mean that you're going to stop working on it. If you have the time to still work on it, say for example, you were spending 4 or 5 hours a day on it because it's such a great idea, right? And you got the answer as a no. Okay, well, don't stop working on it. Instead of spending 3 4 hours a day on it, spend an hour a day on it. Cultivate it, make it right. Make sure that it fits within the guidelines of the school or the industry or the company, right? And then that way, when the opportunity comes and Melody comes back and says, hey Michael, remember when you called me about that idea? All right, I'm ready for it now. Now you took what was an idea into an actual
Yeah. You got to have a
masterpiece.
storeroom of ideas. Not all of them are fully developed. They're all in different phases of ideation or implementation. One of the things that we spoke about in the height of the COVID lockdowns was that you have to have ideas and plans that are modular, that are not time dependent, they're not situation dependent so much that you can, when well, they're not time dependent as in like I have to start it now and be done here, but at any given time, when the stars align, you can yank out this project, plug it in, have something ready to go. And this was very meaningful for us as we went through our reopening protocols. We broke it down into 8 separate weeks, and each week, although it linked with the next week, it didn't matter when it happened. It was just that this is week 1. Week 1 could be September 1st. Week 1 could be October 1st. It didn't matter. And then if something bad happened, we could go back to week 1 and start over. Same thing with all like your ideas. You have to have just all these ideas, even if it's just jotted on a sticky note and put up on a wall somewhere. One of my favorite shows that I used to watch with my daughter, mostly because she was my excuse to watch it, was Phineas and Ferb. And, I really identified with Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He had an innator for everything. And it was just on a shelf, and every episode they'd focus on one, but every now and then something had happened and he'd go, aha, it's time for my Skillz machine. And he'd pull out, that machine. And maybe he's not the best example because it never worked as he planned, but it was always that he had something to hand and he was ready to try and experiment, even if it failed, and he would push forward. So same thing, have those ideas. Even if you propose them and they say no, you don't crumple it up and throw it in the garbage. You put it on a shelf. Later on, like with this PNS course coming up, it might just be that the right minds are not in place at the right time to make it happen. So whether your team getting shot down or your boss worried that you're always telling your team no, there's still value there. Still value.
At least they're taking the initiatives to think outside the box.
Yeah. And you know what? There's going to come that one time where all of a sudden within 6 weeks, you push your team so hard that not that they crack, that they actually have no place to go but up.
Yep.
Like trying to catch that feather on the wind and you go to grasp it and it floats away. It raises its game to stay afloat. Once it floats up, it's a whole new level at which you can revisit all these projects.
Yep.
So I would expect to see from the Skillz team some pretty amazing things coming for 2021. I know from us personally, we've got some personal projects going on and some things that we've put on hold because of coronavirus that will be coming back. And we want the same for you guys. So I would say my homework for you guys this week is to look at every time life tried to crush you over the past 6 months. Whether you actually got ill or had somebody in your family or that you know got ill, or your business faltered or even failed. I know a couple people that their businesses failed, or like John said, they just decided this isn't it right now, and then they closed for their own mental health. Look at, yeah, that part was bad, but what about it caused you to float higher? What about you escaped life's grasp because you found some breeze to elevate you higher? And then what does that allow you to accomplish? I know I'm better, leaner, meaner, more efficient business because of COVID. Not how I would have chosen to have learned that lesson.
Yep.
But I did.
And for some of us, we may not have even recovered the losses that COVID put on us. You know what I mean? And but the fact that you're still grinding, and the fact that you percented the rent, yes, you're still gonna have to pay the rest of it. The fact that you still have a roof over your head, you know, you guys know I'm big on the mindset aspect. Just waking up being grateful, going to sleep being grateful is gonna be the key to self-love. And when you love yourself, you're going to allow yourself to open up more opportunities than anything else. A lot of times we shut doors because we're afraid to, go past that boundary, right? We're afraid to step across. Like, what do I do? How do I get rid of my traditional style versus the skill style? How do I get rid of, my organization versus this? Dudes, guys, ladies, men, those are thoughts that you're putting in your head. Okay. If we were able to elevate Skillz and be at 1,200 schools worldwide, just imagine what you can do. Just imagine.
One of my quotes, and I posted it for the first time the week that I gave notice at my my telecom job, and it was a meme of like the angry wolf when that meme was going around.
Yep.
It said, "Bite off more than you can chew, and then chew it." If you're in a position where you're comfortable, growth isn't really happening.
Yeah. It's okay to be uncomfortable. I mean, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm happy. I'm excited. There's a whole lot of different mixed emotions happening towards next week. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm going through it all because, we talk to you guys every single day. Here, we talk to you guys personally one-on-one, but to be up on stage speaking in front of all of you and in front of Melody and some of the big gurus out there, that's going to be leveling up. That's going to be a different step. So if you hear my throat shake and if you hear my voice like shake and tremble, hey, just ignore it. That's all.
So check it. Like, you just ran a whole bunch of emotions right there. And really what you're doing is living. It's a verb.
You've got to.
It's a verb. If you are never going through these emotions and experiencing them, are you even living? Water that stays still because it found its comfort spot usually stagnates, turns green, turns poisonous. Nothing can live in it.
Yes.
You have to flow a little bit and worry, like, am I going to have enough water pressure to reach the sea? Am I going to be damned? Not damned, but damned. Am I going to sink into the sand? Is somebody going to scoop me up and drink me? Is an animal going to pee in me? You have to have all these different experiences to truly, be living. You
Yeah.
have to fear, you have to worry, but you also have to rejoice, and you have to be glad and joyous and grateful. You need it all. Any one thing, even if it's being happy, if it's the only thing, it's not healthy. You need balance.
Yep.
All right. So for next week, Wednesday of next week, we will actually be down in St. Pete's at the Serrata, prepping for everybody and doing our final preparations. So we're not going to have a formal show. That said, you guys know how we do when we get together with the team. We'll probably be live like every other hour. So keep
Yes.
an eye on the page. If you're a Skillz member, we'll probably drop some tidbits over in the license group. And then we'll probably also be going live in Melody's free Skillz tips group, just little tidbits here and there from the event itself. If we're going to see you there, please, if we've not yet met in person, please come up and say hi. This is a very low key, low pressure event, and by the end, we want to all be family.
Yeah. And if you're not able to be there, don't forget we have live streaming happening. So don't forget to get your ticket. Of course, we want you to be there, but this is going to be a great opportunity for you guys to close the doors to last quarter of 2020 with a big bang, because there's going to be so much information coming out. And just imagine, we're going to have like almost 7 to 10 speakers. If you get one thing out of each one of the speakers, that's 10 things that you can implement towards next year.
Mm-hmm.
If you get one thing out of the whole weekend,
So
that should
I
be
gotta
plenty.
say, so Victoria is over from the UK. I gotta say, I am very sad that we won't be able to hang out this time. As
Yeah, I
awesome
know.
as the live stream is going to be, I'm a little sad that we're not going to get to hang out with the UK crew this time. That just means that everybody needs to wash their hands and wear their masks so we can open the borders and do like double duty next year,
Yeah.
hanging out. So that's it. That's our thing for next week. We'll be pretty busy at the show, but we will still be available here and there. Just, please, if we don't get back to you right away, it just means that maybe we're up on stage at that moment or manning the cameras. But if you still have questions or whatever, please, we are always here to help
Yes.
you guys out. Let us know, message us, email us. You guys know the spiel. So, Mr. Salama, until I'll be to your house on Monday night.
Monday. Yep.
Monday night.
Yep. Just a few sleeps away.
That's it.
All
All right.
right. Peace out, everybody.
Catch you guys later.
Bye.